Hey, what's going on, folks? We have a great show for you today. So Robert F. Kennedy Jr., who's running as a Democrat against Joe Biden, said if he's president, he's going to pardon Julian Assange and Edward Snowden. We're going to talk about that story and also these smear videos that came out about Tucker Carlson behind the scenes by Media Matters, in which personally, I'm not even sure that one of them's real. It kind of looks like a deep fake.
You wouldn't? Okay. I'm not, you know what? I'm not qualified on that score, I will say. I thought his girlfriend was kind of yummy.
I'm not saying it is a deep fake, just something seems a little off. If it is real, I find it actually hilarious. We'll talk about it. And the Writers Guild of America is going on strike, and a bunch of these loser late night shows are having to close down because they don't have the talented writers to write their scripts. Fascinating stuff. We're gonna talk about that. Thank you so much for striking, my friends. The longer you stop writing for these demonic television shows, the more humanity can heal. God bless you guys. Have a beautiful day.
It's the Dream Rare Podcast. Welcome to the show. The way to get the news at the desk or on the road. Let's go. God is great and success in our control. The world is crazy, but we get better from obstacles.
Hey, what's going on? Welcome to today's episode of the Dream Rare Podcast. I have three stories. The first one's going to be RFK says that he would pardon Julian Assange and Edward Snowden. We're going to start with that. Second one is Tucker Carlson had Media Matters release a bunch of behind-the-scenes footage. If you guys don't know who Media Matters is, you're like most of America, no one cares, but there's some sort of pseudo left-wing organization who constantly shares clips and smears right-wingers, and they have some footage of Tucker that's supposed to make Tucker look bad. I'm going to play two of the clips. Warning, parental advisory. I think he curses in them. It just made me like them more. They're hilarious, but my question is, one of them doesn't even look real. Is it just really old, bad editing, or it almost looks like a deep fake in my opinion? So we're going to look at that. Let me know what you think. But either way, I'm not mad at Tucker over it at all, and I don't think most people are. Third thing I want to talk about is there is something called the Writers Guild of America. When you see the puppets formerly known as Jimmy Kimmel, Jimmy Fallon, Trevor Noah, Stephen Colbert, they don't actually write their scripts. I mean, obviously, it seems like a lot of it is Democrat propaganda, but there's actual talented people who, I'm not saying they don't have any talent, they actually write the stuff for them, and all these people are going on strike, so they can't even run their television show. We're going to talk about that third. Let's start with the RFK thing real quick. All right, so I'm going to bring it up so you can read along. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. said on Twitter, instead of championing free speech, the U.S. actively persecutes journalists and whistleblowers. All pardon brave truth tellers like Julian Assange and investigate the corruption and the crimes they've exposed. This isn't the Soviet Union. The America I love doesn't imprison dissidents. Free Assange, Kennedy 2024. I thought he said he was going to pardon Julian Edward Snowden too. I might have to change my title if that's not the case. Maybe he did a different tweet, but maybe I read it wrong. But definitely Julian Assange, he says he's going to pardon. That being said, I believe him. I think he probably will. I don't think this is something, if he won, I don't think he's going to win. But if he won, I don't see him backing off of this. I think he seems pretty authentic when it comes to that type of stuff. So I believe that he would pardon Assange. With that being said, he's a Democrat, so if you're not a registered Democrat in most states, you can't even vote for him because he's running against Joe Biden at first. He needs to beat Joe Biden to even be considered. I think that's a tall task. I don't think he's going to do it. I hope he does. I obviously would rather him than Joe Biden in that primary. With that being said, you know, he's doing a great job talking about Big Pharma. He seems very interested in earning people's votes and competing for people's votes, and I'm glad he's out there saying stuff like this and stuff about Big Pharma. With that being said, before I move forward, I'm not going to talk about this for too long because I know there's going to be like 20 to 30 people that are about to screech. But one of the 30 reasons I don't think that Trump was a victim of his term was because, you know, when he ran, Julian Assange helped him a lot with WikiLeaks, the Hillary Clinton emails. That was a huge part of Trump's campaign. He used it on the campaign trail. A lot of his supporters figured that stuff out. And after he got in office, he pretended like he didn't know what WikiLeaks was, and he hired people like Pompeo, Grinnell, that hate Julian Assange so much. You know, there's certain reports that say some people in Trump administration wanted Julian Assange killed. So it's like, you know, it's hard for me to feel like he's the victim of the deep state when somebody helped him reveal stuff about the deep state and then he turned his back on them. So I don't, I felt like that move was always kind of suspect, as well as the pardon list that he had. So let me know what you think. But RFK saying that he would pardon Assange is very, very interesting. I wonder if he would. I think so. And, just something to bring into the political atmosphere. Second story I want to talk about is Tucker Carlson had these two clips basically leaked by Media Matters. Here's the first one. Let me know what you think, because I don't even believe this clip is real. I hope it is, because I think it's hilarious and it just makes me like Tucker more. Parental advisory warning, he curses. To me, this does not look like a real clip, though. But let me know what you think, and I'm going to read a few comments, and we'll play the second one. Here's the first clip.
You wouldn't? Okay. I'm not, you know what? I'm not qualified on that score, I will say. I thought his girlfriend was kind of yummy. Just kidding. Just kidding, in case this is being pulled off the bird. Yeah, the bird. Hey, Media Matters for America. Go fuck yourself. That's the first thing I want to say tonight. Second thing is, totally kidding. I don't even know what his girlfriend looks like. And if I did, I would not find her yummy.
That's hilarious, but does that look real to you? Media Matters is sharing this on their Twitter. One of their guys, I forget his name, I pulled it off his Twitter. He's sharing this like this is some huge intel he has on Tucker. It's hilarious, but it looks super fake. It looks super, super fake. Let me go on Twitter real quick. I just want to see the name of this guy who's sharing it, because he's like, yeah, he's acting like this is some huge, some huge bombshell. Let me see. Tucker Carlson, leaked video. What is this guy's name? Matt Gertz. Matt Gertz is a senior fellow at MMFA, which is Media Matters, I guess, for America. Views expressed here are my own. Husband of Alyssa Rosenberg. Dad, not the GOP congressman. So it doesn't even look real at all. He's like, hey, Media Matters. And then he gives the middle finger. He's like, haha, just in case you record this. It's really funny, but if that does turn out to be a deep fake, which I personally think it is, how embarrassing for Media Matters to share that. Here's another clip where he talks about his audience being past menopause or something. Here, let's watch the clip.
Well, I feel great. I can never assess my appearance. I wait for my postmenopausal fans to weigh in on that. My IFB. What? They want to control me from afar? Okay, I'm putting the leash on. You can... Fuck it, we'll do it live! I got you, baby.
I mean, that's the worst they have on Tucker. It's like he's making a joke about his audience being older. I don't care what I look like. I'll leave it to my older audience. That also doesn't look that real to me. I mean, it's so blurry and hard to see. So if it's real, it's just funny. It's not that bad. It's like, yeah, my audience is older. Haha, I'll let them decide. Wow, that's so bad. That's so crazy. It just makes me like him more if it's real. I think the first one, if I had to bet on it, is fake. And the second one is maybe real, maybe fake. I don't know. If they're both real, I could care less. If they're both fake, I also could care even less than that, because it's not real. Media Matters is so odd. There's two accounts that I'll see sometimes. One of them is called Right Wing Watch. And Right Wing Watch posts like the craziest or the funniest like right wing stuff. And Right Wing Watch is interesting. I don't follow them, but they pop in my feed sometimes, because 50% of the time they're sharing really funny things. That's just hilarious. And it's like a right winger saying something hilarious. And you're like, dude, that's actually pretty funny. Or something true that they don't want to hear. And then the other half of the time, it is actually like psychotic right-wingers doing psychotic stuff, which is also funny. It's like, damn, I don't agree with that, but that is kind of funny. So Right Wing Watch might as well be like a recruitment tool for right wing. It's like they think they're fighting the right or whatever, but they're really just sharing content of the right. Half the time it's true and funny. Other half it's disturbing and weird. But I don't know. I don't know what their thing is, but that's just what it is. I logged into Facebook today because I wanted to pull my, this Robert F. Kennedy Jr. tweet. I basically printed it out. Not basically, literally printed it out. And I go into Facebook And the first thing that pops into my feed, it's like, I would say it's all the people tagging me and stuff. It's some group from Jerusalem. I don't know what they're called. I forget the name. Something like Stop Israel. I don't even know. Some sort of like Jewish advocacy group. But they're like, Anomaly, the raging anti-Semite with Candace Owens raging. And I'm like, what did me and Candace even say? Like, I don't even remember talking about Jewish people. Like, maybe I asked her about Ye and something, but it's like these type of groups kind of creep me out, where it's like they just stalk me and find things out of context and say I hate people. I don't hate people. I don't hate Israel. I don't hate Jews. I literally don't even criticize Israel. I just say American politicians need to step their game up because I'm embarrassed at what we're doing. And sometimes I compliment their government in the sense of like, well, they have laws that say you can't have dual passports and America should have that. And these people see that as like raging hate. And it's like, just stop, just leave me alone. You guys creep me out. But that's Media Matters. That's Right Wing Watch. There's certain groups, that's all they do. They just like stalk other people and then just like hate on everything they do and just try to find like, oh, Tucker said that. Like, who cares? Yeah, I don't believe the Tucker clips. I agree with you. Tucker clips, a lot of people seem to think they're deep fakes. On Twitter, people weren't pointing that out that much. You'd be surprised. They were like, oh, that's not that bad. That's funny. It's like, yeah, it is funny, but also, is it even real? Very strange stuff. We'll see when Tucker talks about it. Last story I want to talk about is the Writers Guild of America is on strike, and hopefully, I would take a knee with these people, metaphorically, not literally. I only kneel to Christ, but I'd take a knee with these people to strike for days, strike for weeks. I hope you guys stay on strike for 20 years. Actually, I hope you never return to work, and I hope that all of the late night shows fail. So keep the strike up. You're doing wonders for humanity. The longer you stop writing for these dirtbags, the better the country is. Let me read the story real quick to fill you guys in with what I'm talking about. It won't be a late night for Seth Meyers or Stephen Colbert or either of the Jimmys for a while. Movie and television writers are moving ahead with a costly, industry-wide walkout for the first time in 15 years. The Writers Guild of America, which represents 11,500 television and screenwriters, 11,500, announced late Monday that a strike would begin early Tuesday, with picketing commencing in the afternoon after negotiations with the Alliance of Motion Picture and Television Producers, which represents Hollywood studios, failed to yield a new deal before the current guild contract expired. For TV fans, it means that the writers behind your favorite shows like ABC's Abbott Elementary, Showtime's Yellow Jackets, and Netflix Stranger Things are headed for the picket lines. And depending on its duration, the move either will have a swift or delayed effect on TV production. The strike will also affect late-night talk shows including The Late Show with Stephen Colbert, Jimmy Kimmel Live, The Tonight Show starring Jimmy Fallon, and Late Night with Seth Meyers, as well as those on cable networks like Real Time with Bill Maher and Last Week Tonight with John Oliver. All rely on guild writers to pump out topical monologues and skits. Colbert, Fallon, Kimmel, and Meyers have already openly agreed to pause production on their shows and will all revert to reruns on Tuesday until further notice. Bill Maher and Oliver's show will go dark immediately with no rerun scheduled. So the writers are picketing for more money, and like half of Hollywood's going down. I don't know. I mean, most late night shows can't exist without the writers. This is great news. I am such an activist, not because I agree or like these people. I just hope they just never go back. I hope they destroy all these shows, please. I mean, these like liberal writers who want more money to feed their cats in their apartment. Nothing wrong with cats, by the way. I know a lot of people here own cats. What's wrong with cats? And I'm like, nothing. I'm just trying to make a cheap joke. Sorry. Unlike Stephen Colbert and Jimmy Kimmel, I make my own jokes. I come up with them on the spot. I have talent. Unlike them, they're like, cheer, boo, read the sign, please help. Please, so they got like a team of 30 writers writing the funniest. Oh, it's so hard to be funny when you have 30 writers writing sitting in a room for 40 hours getting paid peanuts to be funny for you, and then you get to wear a suit on TV. But anyway, the longer these shows stay off air, the better. This is amazing. These left-wingers probably voted for Joe Biden and the far left progressives in San Francisco and LA. And they've probably done very little to help humanity in the last 10 years of their life. But whether they know it or not, the longer they strike, the more they help humankind, because they're taking these shows off the air. This is amazing. Like, it's like just getting brainwashed for 20 years and then you shut off the brainwashing and people are like, snap out of it. No Jimmy Kimmel, no Jimmy Fallon, no Trevor Noah, or no, what is it? Jimmy Kimmel, Jimmy Fallon, Seth Meyers, Stephen Colbert. This is like one of the greatest things to ever happen in modern history. Please. I hope they're demanding $1,000 an hour. I hope they want to be paid in Bitcoin. I hope they want 1 million Dogecoin with a Bitcoin, Roth IRA or something. So I hope their demands are so unattainable that they can't get paid for the next 4 months and Jimmy Kimmel, goes and tries a new profession. That would be so good for everyone. So my brothers and sisters, you deserve it. I don't know what you do. I don't know what you deserve, but I know that you do deserve it. And if they do try to reach your demands, just know that you're worth more. You're a strong, independent black woman. Even if you're white and not black, you still are that to me. You're all in a one way that, you are who you want to be. You could change whatever you want, gender, race, nothing matters. You are worth it and you are special. And Hollywood doesn't want to pay you for that skill that you have. So just hold out, keep striking, keep pushing. When they reach your demands, reach higher. When they want to pay you ask for more. They got deep pockets, trust me. They get paid high dollars to propagandize America. While they pull the rug out of the economy, they make millions of dollars while you make nothing. They're making a fortune, and you get breadcrumbs to propagandize the American people into their own demise. So don't think for a second that they can't reach your demands. These people are so tight with people at the Federal Reserve, they could probably just print money for you. So just understand what you're doing is great. Keep it up, folks. Brothers and sisters on the picket line, keep picketing. Maybe I'll go out there and join with you. Hold out for days, months, years, decades if you have to. The longer Jimmy Kimmel and Trevor Noah or whoever, just Stephen Colbert, the longer he doesn't go on air, the better it is for everybody. I'm sure he can go find another job. His family's in politics. I think his sister ran as a Democrat or something. But anyway, this is like an interesting time. The left-wingers picketing the left-wingers. Good stuff. Isn't it funny that these people can't even run their shows without 11,000 liberals that they pay breadcrumbs, in the Writers Guild? Really makes you appreciate me, doesn't it? No, I'm just kidding. But it's like I write my own show. I produce my own show. I make up my own jokes on the spot 99.9% of the time. I don't even have jokes ready. I just make them up. It's like Stephen Colbert's probably got like dozens of writers. Even Bill Maher's I get it. You got to make a show. But isn't that a little weird? I'm a hip hop artist. Some know, some like it, some don't, whatever. But I write all my own lyrics. I would never allow someone to write my own lyrics. In hip hop, that's somewhat standard. But now people like sing hooks and they make your thing. To me, it just feels weird. Like I'm putting my heart and soul into these songs. I want it to be what I think. Like, what's the point of like so many of these pop stars, they have 15 songwriters, 10 songwriters, 5 producers. By the time you get the song, it's not even them. They're just an empty vessel. They're a puppet, They have a good voice and a good image, and they didn't actually do anything. Late night show is exactly that also. It's like, yeah, Jimmy, what's his name? Fallon. Jimmy Fallon is talented. He's good at, he's done that. He's been in that world. He can do stand-up, etc. It's just now he's just an empty vessel. Like, they just do everything for him. They write his jokes. They tell him what to say. Ukraine war. You watch Trevor Noah, Jimmy Fallon, Jimmy Kimmel, Seth Meyers, Jimmy whatever, Colbert, whatever their names are. It's all the same. It's literally almost all the same all the time because apparently they have the same DNC style writers writing all their stuff. I one time was in a hotel and I just flipped back and forth between the 3 late nights, and it was like Jimmy Fallon was like drooling. He'd like, hey guys, feed me alcohol and pills. I'll do anything. I'm just kidding. I don't know if he does pills or not, but it's just like, he's like, hey man, what about Ukraine, huh? It could be crazy, like Russia collusion, huh, boys? And everyone's like, please clap, and then like you go to like Seth Meyers and he's like, what's up with Russian collusion? Am I right? I mean, Ukraine, huh? And everyone's like, and then you go to like Stephen Colbert. It's the same. It's like the same script. They just push it out 15 different ways. So you're like, I've educated myself, you know? I know things because I've listened to 5 different people say it. It's like, well, what if they all had the same writers? What if they all had the same political machine behind their news corporation where they're not even allowed? Like, do you think Jimmy Fallon could go on TV and be like, hey, you know what, guys? He reminds me of like a dog that needs water or something. Like he's always like panting and stuff, like kind of like David Dobrik. You know, he's always like, hey guys. It's like, dude, what? Like, do you need like what? Do you want me to fill up a bowl with water or something? Like, I feel like Jimmy Kimmel or what's his name? Is it Jimmy Kimmel? No, Jimmy Fallon. It's like Jimmy Fallon, he needs like a dog bowl, but you got to fill it up with like bourbon or something and put it off to the side. And he'll like drink it between commercials. Like he just seems like he's like on Adderall or something. I'm not saying he is. He just seems like it. Anyway, you know, it's like, do you think Jimmy Fallon could go on television and be like, hey guys, you know, I decided that I don't agree with the Ukraine war. I mean, why are we funding Ukraine money, huh? I mean, didn't we just get out of the Afghanistan war? Like, do you think he could do that? Of course not. He would be act so fastly, it wouldn't even be funny. He has to be like, hey, what's going on? I mean, Zelensky really needs our money. And everyone's like, oh, Zelensky. You know, it's like he can't be himself. He doesn't write his own stuff. He doesn't have his own opinions. He can't have his own opinions. That's why they pay him the big bucks to be there. You just pant, you know, drink bourbon out of a dog bowl. Every now and then you'll get to hang out with like the Jonas Brothers or Leonardo DiCaprio and, you know, play beer pong with Pitbull on giant sized beer pong cups. Like that's the gig, you know, you get to dance sometimes with like, you know, hot female actresses and then just say DNC Democratic Party talking points and military industrial complex talking points, which most of the time aren't even liberal. They're more like neocon, you know, it's like a war machine. Hey guys, he can't. He's got to say this. They all say the same thing. Jimmy Fallon. Hey guys, I'm here with you know, Jonas Brothers. I'm about to play beer pong with, you know, Pitbull. Pitbull guys. But before we play beer pong with Pitbull, let's talk about how cool Joe Biden is, right? And how Ukraine's awesome, and we need to give them their money. Oh my gosh, it's so stupid. Yeah, Jimmy Fallon. I don't know. Kimmel, Fallon, they all blend together at a certain point. They're just different shades of bought out, different shades of sold out. Before I got into politics and news analysis, you know, when I was just an average normal citizen, which I also still am, but you get what I'm saying. Before I even like talked publicly, I always thought to myself, when Stephen Colbert went from Comedy Central to wherever he went, what was it, NBC, CBS, I don't know, one of the big ones, I knew this like before even Bernie and Trump. I was like, he's not going to be the same anymore. I just told myself that. I was like, now that he's going to this mega corporation, he's going to be a different person and he's going to have to sell out. Like that's when people were like, oh, you were this or you were that. Everybody evolves. I've grown. I've learned conservatism for sure. But I never was like a normie liberal. I really wasn't. I had that instinct when this was like in the 2010s. I'm like, he's done. You know what I'm saying? He's too big for his own britches now. He can't be the same person he was on Comedy Central. That was my prediction, and I was beyond right. I mean, I didn't know how bad it really was. I knew kind of how bad it was, but they've proved every thought I've had true with how mega corporations actually work. They all say the same thing. They all push the Democratic Party line. Do you remember before Kanye even started talking about those who must not be named? He was just like wearing a red hat, you know? Kanye, it's like stages of like conspiracies, you know, he started this and then he just went further and further. And like, it's like he had a very relatable, you know, kind of like he had a very relatable path to just like, you know, taking it past the point where people want to you to take it. But like people don't remember now because things have gotten so wild. He started with just wearing a Trump hat. He's like, yeah, I like Trump, you know, and then everyone's like, do you remember how mad they got that he just wore a red hat? They're like, oh, you can't wear a red hat. He's like, why? Everyone says I can't wear this MAGA hat. I just want to wear it. And like liberal, there was like, you know, could you imagine being like Seth Meyers or Jimmy Fallon and just like wearing a MAGA hat one day? Hey guys, Jimmy, why are you wearing that red MAGA hat? I don't know. I just saw a few Trump videos. I thought it was pretty funny. They're like, Jimmy, your whole life's going to be destroyed if you don't take that hat off. You know, that's like the whole... He's got to just like push Ukraine war propaganda. Imagine Jimmy Fallon. hey guys, I saw a Putin video on Twitter. I mean, he doesn't seem that bad. Could you imagine? He just gets on TV. Oh, I mean, Putin's literally Hitler. I mean, what the hell? Give your money to Zelensky. He would be on a jet with Ben Stiller faster than you could say, I don't know. He's like, hey guys, I watched some YouTube videos this weekend. I got drunk and watched YouTube videos with my girl, and I came to the conclusion that Putin seems pretty based. What the hell? Where did you hear the word based? The FBI's in the freaking stands like, based? Did he say based? That's a word that we need to investigate. It's like, oh my gosh. Stick to the script. It's just easier. Have John Legend and Chrissy Teigen on to talk about, recipes and stuff. Chrissy Teigen's like, me and John, we just cook a lot and, we just make food. And John's like, that's right. And he's like, that's all we do, right, honey? And do you remember the one time they asked Chrissy Teigen and John Legend about the Obamas? And he's like, I think it was John Legend or Chrissy Teigen was like, oh, I'm not going to say what we did at the Obamas. And then like John Legend was like, he's like, Chrissy, come on, don't talk. And she's like, what? I mean, we just had a fun night. And he's like, not on television. Don't talk about that night. What night? I don't know. I just saw the clip. You never seen that clip? It's pretty funny. Google it or DuckDuckGo or whatever. If you use Bing, I don't know why, but yeah. So, overall, thank you to the Writers Guild of America. I know we probably disagree on almost everything. You probably hate me. I don't see why though. It's like I do what all of you do, just kind of better. No, like you guys write for like Jimmy Fallon. It takes like 11,000 writers to write for like all these shows. 11,000 people are on strike. I do all this by myself. Could any of you guys imagine? I mean, no, it takes 15 of us to write a 30-minute segment. It's embarrassing, but I get it. Like, teamwork makes the dream work or whatever. But the amount of production and people that go into just one guy in a suit doing DNC propaganda is insane. It takes like hundreds of people to do one crappy 30-minute segment about how amazing Zelensky is. Wow, yeah, he's really cool. Like, Zelensky's really small. He's like 5 foot something. He's a tiny guy. They're like, Jimmy Fallon, it's like, what is he, 20 foot tall? It's like, badoonts, and the roots are there. They're like, it's like, dude, it takes so much to do so little. The Roots are one of the best hip hop bands of all time. It sucks that Jimmy Fallon just scooped them up to just have them be like a sideshow, but whatever. Yeah, I mean, we probably don't agree on much, but I'm glad you're on strike, and I just hope it lasts forever. I really do. I hope it lasts forever. I hope you get what you want. Actually, I hope you never get what you want, and you just keep demanding more. And it just never stops, because the longer these shows stay off air, the better. And we'll see what happens, but there's so much competition nowadays. There's so many podcasts. There's so much stuff. Like, it's interesting with Tucker too. I think he'll do well. I think Tucker's funny. I think he's, I think he's top talent. But with that being said, let me know what you guys think in the comments too. I think what made Tucker so special, and keep in mind, I actually like Tucker and I think he's going to do great. I think he's one of those people that can do anything because of who he is and what he brings. But also part of me thinks that Tucker, what made him so special was the fact that he was on TV, and he was one of the only ones, if not the only one on TV that had like a soul. So that kind of made him a standout. Like, Tucker on television is a huge, huge deal because he's Tucker Carlson, and he's the only TV host that's willing to talk about most issues and go against the grain. Tucker Carlson on podcast, is he going to be as interesting? I mean, I'll still listen to some of what he has to say, but like, Eddie Bravo's out here talking about the shape of the earth. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's people that push the boundaries of everything. Like, Tucker's going to sound like a normie compared to most podcasters because, like, he's really only edgy when you put him against Anderson Cooper and Sean Hannity. When you put him against, Owen Benjamin, Eddie Bravo, Alex Jones, Joe Rogan, and, name any other podcast out there, he's not that edgy. Like, Tucker's kind of basic. And I'm not saying he's basic. I like him. I'm just saying him being on TV was just such a huge deal. him on podcast, is it going to translate into this massive mega success, or is he just going to fall by the wayside? I don't know. I believe in Tucker. I think he's going to do really well. But, you know, it's kind of like Obama. Obama was like a popular president, but Obama was such a loser. I'm not saying a loser. I guess he was such a nothing on podcast. I don't know that nobody listened to his podcast. Like, he was the president of the United States. But in the world of podcasting, no one really cared. There's something to be said about that. Let me know what you guys think. I think Patrick Bet David from Valuetainment offered Tucker $100 million. It's interesting. It's like when they offered, what was it, Crowder $50 million or $120 million. It's a big risk, big reward. The risk is like Steven Crowder's got such a huge audience. Tucker Carlson's got such a huge audience. But then if something happens and you can't recoup or whatever, it's a bold move. Let me know what you guys think. I believe in Tucker. I'm not trying to smear him, doubt him. I think he'll do well. I just don't think it's I don't know. I don't think it's going to be as interesting as him on television, because that separated him from the pack in the podcasting space. I'm not sure if he's gonna be like, I don't know. I'm not gonna like rush to listen to it, but I will listen to a good one. Like if Tucker uses his clout to get a bunch of good guests and stuff, like I'll listen to him. That's just how I do it though. Like with Joe Rogan, I don't listen to every Joe Rogan, but if Joe Rogan has like a really fire guest, or Aaron Rodgers is on talking about COVID, you know, I'm gonna pop in. Or there's a UFC fighter I want to listen to. But as far as like every podcast, I just don't listen. But that's just me. You know, everybody has their own threshold. Someone said, I'm going to read a few comments that I'm going to take off. Thank you guys. Hold on. Do I think mainstream like Fox would clean house and bring in a younger group of newscasters? Indiana Jones, it's a good question. I don't think they have that foresight. I don't know though. I've never really like had connections at Fox to know what they're really thinking. But, you know, Tucker was the best person at Fox and he's gone. So clearly they can't even keep their best talent, or they ran him out of the house. To me, it seems like, and this is just me, I don't know. It seems like a lot of these older news companies, they don't want to get with the times. Like I used to be friends with Fleckas from Fleckas Talk. And we used to always talk about like, this was when Fleckas was really doing street interviews all the time and they're getting hundreds of thousands of views. I always used to talk to Fleckas and I was like, why? Like he was always undervalued to me. I'm like, why doesn't Fox do a little deal with you? They don't even have to pay you like millions of dollars, but like, why don't they do a deal with you and put your Fleckas talks on television? Because they're so funny and interesting. Like Fleckas is one of these people that he has a lot of even left-wing listeners because his content's just so funny. It's funny street interviews. It brings in both crowds, mostly right-wing, but both crowds. Why doesn't Fox put those on television? Why are all their hosts 40, 50, 60, 70? You know, a lot of these people look at me and they think like, oh, anomalies to this or to that. And really, I think as far as liability wise, I'm not that much of a liability. I fact check everything I say. I'm very careful. I don't want to get sued the same way Fox doesn't get sued. I'm actually very careful with what I say, but they see my hair or they see my appearance or they see the fact that I rap and they think like, oh, he can't do it. It's like, I already did it. You know, I've already done it. So I feel like I'm always being kind of doubted by news companies, but at the same time, I don't care because I don't really have to prove anything. Like, you know, in a business meeting, I'll be like, put my stats up against your people's stats. I have 800 million views. I have over 2 million followers. I did this with a $0 budget. I produce all my own shows. I could do 7 shows a week by myself with not a single writer. You don't think I could do what you do? Of course I could do what you do. If it takes 11,000 writers to produce your 10 shows and I do it all by myself, you don't think I could do what you do with a budget and a team? I could blow this all out. So like people always look at me and they're like, we don't see it. I'm like, well, I don't see what you're doing. You guys got old, lame, and I'm not knocking old people. Old people are cool. I'm just saying like a place like Fox or whatever, it's like, I don't think they have the vision, and it's not necessarily a bad thing. Just look at, you know, I'm not a fan of him as a person, but as far as a business, he runs a good business. Tim Pool, you know, Vice, he used to work for Vice. Now Vice is failing and Tim Pool is thriving because Tim is a hard worker and Tim knows how to work the internet. So Tim's running circles around companies that wouldn't listen to him. You get what I'm saying? It's like Patrick Bet David from Valuetainment, he's doing very well. A lot of people are doing really well. You know, this isn't a time to play the victim. There's a lot of different ways to do it. Daily Wire is doing phenomenal. And even though Daily Wire wouldn't work with someone like me, I see what they're doing, and they've created a lot from a little, and they've done a good job with it. So, you know, I think the older news publications are really failing. Right? You know, I don't know any other way to put it. I'll give you another example. Someone said this guy's as bald as Tim Pool. I have hair, but I'm not gonna like throw my hat off to prove it to you. Look, it's right there. Stop bullying me. I'm not bald. Everyone's seen my hair like yesterday. It's like, dude, I wear a hat one day and people are like, oh, anomaly. Did you cut all your hair? It's like, it's called a winter hat that you could get for yourself at dreamrare.com. These are the classic God bless hats. I know you're just trying to cyberbully me into throwing my hat on the ground, but it's not going to work. I'm a strong, independent Whoopi Goldberg, which means I'm a black Jewish woman. So you cannot bully a Whoopi Goldberg. That's who I identify as. And, you know, I'm strong for that reason. No, I'm really broken inside. Anyway, you know, I'll give you a situation of older media that I would do a deal with, but they've never wanted to do a deal with me, and I don't understand why, but at the same time, I don't care because then I've done it myself. Like, let's talk about news. I share articles all the time. My Facebook page has a lot of reach, right? I could get lots of clicks on my news articles. I share them on Twitter. I have a Gab, whatever. I've tried to tell news companies that I would do a deal with them to share their articles and try to do a mutual thing. I could get millions of clicks. You guys can benefit and make money for millions of clicks. Let's do a deal. I want the freedom to share whatever I want. I'm not going to share an article I don't believe in, but I will share an article that you write that I like. And the thing is, there's certain stories that everyone's breaking. It doesn't matter if I share AP, CNN, Fox News, Daily Caller, Daily Mail. When there's a mainstream story, everybody's covering it. So it's like, it's not even that unique, or it doesn't matter. I pick one, I print it out, and I read it, because like most of these might as well just be Chat GPT AI, because nobody's really even doing journalism anymore. With that being said, I'm not going to say which companies, but when they were contacting me, I said, let's do a little deal. Like, they never want to do a deal. I don't know. It's like, okay, then whatever. I don't like, maybe you don't think I can, or I don't know where their head's at, but I'll give you an example. I wrote 2 articles last week on Tucker Carlson leaving. I not broke the story, but as soon as that happened, I wrote an article about it. As soon as Don Lemon got fired, I wrote an article about it. Those 2 articles that I shared on Facebook and Twitter, I got 90,000 clicks in one day. 90,000. That's a lot of money for a news corporation, but none of these dinosaur news corporations like see the value that I have. So I just created my own website with Bobby Sauce, and we created our own. Now we're going to run ads on it. Now I'm going to make the money myself. So it's like, I don't mind. I'm not the victim. I just created my own news company. Now I can write articles about weather modification and geoengineering. I can write edgier articles that I couldn't write on other websites. So I don't mind that they did that. But when people ask me, the reason I'm saying this, if you ask me, like, do I think that like Fox News and these other things are going to get younger talent? I don't think so. I think they're completely clueless, honestly, when it comes to certain things. They're good with television. They understand that medium. But when it comes to this other stuff, if you don't evolve, you're going to disappear. You get what I'm saying? Vice was huge 10 years ago. Then they sold out. Now they're not that great. Like BuzzFeed, like, Huffington Post. Like, nobody cares about them anymore. Why? If I were one of these companies, I would be hiring good talent. I'd find the best people and utilize them instead of just like, I don't know what they're doing, but I don't necessarily care because it doesn't affect me. But no, I don't think they have the vision. Like, I look at some of the stuff they're doing and it's like, okay, you guys are, but everybody goes their own direction. Some people do other things better than others. But yeah, I don't think that Fox and these other mega corporations, I don't think they have the vision to hire younger people. I don't think they have the vision to hire good people. I don't think they have the vision. They like somebody, I don't want to name names because I'm not trying to be a dick today, but there's people that I've seen go from nothing to like they're on every show and they're like, well, this is my opinion. And I'm like, dude, they pick the lamest, loseriest people ever. Like they like tokens, in my opinion. Like, they like someone that's like, I'm the gay guy that's a Republican. I'm the black guy. And I'm not, I don't care who you are. That's for you to decide. Like, race, sexuality, like, do you. But I'm just saying, like, if Fox doesn't, to me, or these type of people, they don't get the best talent. They just get like people that they can like fill a point. Like, I'm Tim Scott. I'm Tim Scott. I'm like Mike Pence, but a black guy. And it's like, cool. And then when someone doesn't like Tim Scott, they're like, they're a racist. They're a racist. The left is racist against Tim Scott. Now you're going to cry racism because people don't like Tim Scott. They said something mean about Tim Scott. Boo-hoo. Are they racist when they say something about Donald Trump? No, everything's not racist. They just don't like Republicans. So they'll say whatever they need to say because they don't like Republicans. Doesn't matter if you're black or white. They just don't like you. Okay. It's not like they care about your race or Tim Scott's race or Donald Trump's race. They don't care about that. They just don't like you. So stop, like, this is like the whole game that they're playing. They're like, well, the left, here's someone to talk about the left. Well, the left is really out of control, Becky. I mean, have you seen the left? And you're like, thank you, Tim. We're back to the show. That's the type of people they want. They don't want me. They don't want to. It's all good. I'm fine. I adapt. I evolve. I work hard. But, the people who get it are the ones who are winning. The internet, technology. I think that Daily Wire has done a brilliant job with their business model. The contracts. I've had this conversation, but we'll just rehash it real quick. Crowder, in my view, when he talked about the Daily Wire contract, he was lying and covering up stuff to try to make himself seem like a victim instead of just negotiating or dropping the deal for his own self-gain. I don't think he helped anybody. I don't think he's a good boss. I don't think he makes good contracts. I don't think any of his co-hosts actually like him. So him trying to act like he was Robin Hood was always a lie, and that was always going to collapse. I was right about that. Most people got it wrong. That's fine. With that being said, Daily Wire is offering like NFL-style contracts. You get the money, but then we get to keep the revenue. Here's the thing, though. That's the trade-off. I'm in negotiations right now with a big news company, right? I'm not playing the victim. They don't need to give me anything. I don't need to sign anything. So I'm negotiating by myself. It's like, if it's bad, I just turn it away. If it's good, I'll consider it. But it's not like a terrible thing. I own everything of my own stuff. I don't need it. But anyway, looking at these type of contracts, it's like there's always going to be a trade-off in a news contract. So either you get more money if you're worth the money, less money if you're not worth the money, and then there's the conversation about ownership versus net, like just an amount. And some people might not want to hear this, but to me, this is actually very valuable. If you're a musician, if you're an artist, if you're a news person, whatever, any sort of business negotiations. From the time I was 19, I was negotiating hip hop contracts. This happens in all industries, and this is just how it happens. You need leverage. If you have no leverage, how are you going to get a deal? If you have nothing, no one owes you anything. I have a lot of leverage. I have millions of followers. I have a big reach. I have an audience. So I use it as leverage. But the thing is, whether it's me, Crowder, anyone, Candace, certain people are going to get more money because they have more leverage, a bigger audience, a bigger, more data. They have millions of people signed up to Mug Club or whatever, so they can prove that. But in general, there's always a trade-off. If I'm going to get money, let's just say I'm negotiating with a company and I want whatever I want, 10,000, 20,000, 30, 40, 50, 60 a month. I'm not saying these are real numbers. I'm just giving you an example. Well, if they're going to hand me that money a month, or they're going to hand Crowder $50 million, or they're going to hand Candace this, what are they paying me for? They want something in return. They're not just saying, here's $50 million, here's $1 million anomaly. Like, that's because we like you. No, it's a business. It's a negotiation. If they're going to give me money, I have to give something up for the money. They're going to want 50% of my channel. They're going to want the rights to the documentary. So what Daily Wire is doing is smart for them, but it's also smart for the user. It's a gamble. It's like if you've ever seen, I'm sorry to change the subject, but this is relevant. If you've ever seen The Last Dance with Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen, it's a great documentary. It's about the Bulls. Scottie Pippen was pissed off because he had a bad contract, because he signed a long contract when he wasn't that good, and then he became one of the best players, and then the contract didn't make sense anymore. Here's the truth, though. As much as I like Scottie Pippen, I like Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen is not a victim. He chose to sign a long-term contract. When you're a young guy in the NBA and you're good, you have two routes you can go. Do you want to sign a 5 or 10-year deal and get more money quickly? Or do you want to sign a shorter deal and then get more money later? But the thing is, if you want a shorter deal and you get injured, you don't get that money. They don't care about you. So it's strategically smart to sign a long-term deal if you really just want quick money, but that's the trade-off. Either, you could take nothing, get injured, then they don't owe you anything. So Scotty took the long-term safe money, which was smaller money, and then he wanted the big money. He's not a victim. He signed a contract, and then he didn't get injured, but that's the risk he took. So with the Daily Wire, they're giving out these mega contracts to people, some people, but they're keeping ownership of everything, but they're giving a lot of money. If you want $50 million, you got to give up a lot of stuff. If you don't want to give up a lot of ownership of your stuff, then no one's going to pay you $50 or $120 million. That's just how it works. When you sign a huge contract in the NFL, they own your jersey. They're trying to recoup the money through sales, through television. So it's like, if you want ownership and revenue and a revenue split of every documentary you make, there's nothing wrong with that. It's just you have to negotiate that and give up something for that. So that's how I see it in the contract I'm negotiating. That's how I feel. If they're not just going to give me something for nothing. There's got to be a trade-off. And if you don't want to do that, then just rip the contract up and then walk away and then just do your own stuff. You get to keep 100% of the revenue and take 100% of the risk and spend 100% of the money. So that's just how. Someone said Tucker's still under contract for 18 months. I've heard rumors that he's caught under contract. I don't know if it's true. He'll be all right. He's made a lot of money. He'll figure out his next move, no problem. I'm just trying to put people on game. Some people know this, some people don't, but it's like, hearing how some people were talking about certain contracts, I don't agree. Some people say it's completely wrong, but it's really not, though, because here's my take. You have to understand, I've criticized Ben Shapiro more than most people. They've never really done much for me. I know Candace, but besides that, it's like the Daily Wire doesn't want to hire me. The Daily Wire doesn't really give a crap about me. They don't owe me anything. I don't owe them anything. I criticize them more than I ever talked about Crowder before the Daily Wire situation with them. But in general, the truth is, they don't owe anyone anything. They don't owe Crowder anything. They don't owe me anything. So everyone's saying what they're doing so bad. It's really not. They built that company. They don't have to sign you. They don't need you. They're doing a deal. So if they're going to give you a lot of money to own stuff, that's the risk. Dude, every day I walk into work, I don't know how much I'm going to make. It's a risk. If someone gives me an upfront amount of money that's guaranteed for 2 years, that's not a bad thing necessarily. Yeah, I could earn less than that and be like, oh man, I was worth 20 million, but they paid me 10 million. But that's the risk you take. Or you walk the other way and risk losing everything by yourself. Daily Wire is not giving out that crazy bad contract. It's just like, they have a lot of resources and money. They're making millions of dollars a month through their subscription model. And, they're giving lump sums of money to people so they can keep on the back end. But everyone's not getting the deal Crowder got. So that's another thing. But I'm just saying in general, everyone who is like, that's so crazy what they're doing, then you make your own company then and give people deals. Like if I make a company and I have a media business and I'm making tens of millions of dollars a month, I don't need to sign you and I don't need to give you things. I'm looking for talent and I'm looking for a mutual deal. Like I don't understand people's thing where it's like, that's so crazy. Well, then do your own thing. Do your own. You know what I'm saying? Make your own. Most of these people don't want to make their own. If you make your own, then this is not a threat to you. Someone said you'd be tied to what they represent. There's a risk on both sides. If you sign someone for this lump sum of money, you're spending that money. If you sign to this thing, you're tied to that name. It could be a good thing. It could be a bad thing. That's just the way it works. I guess I just don't feel bad for anybody because I've been independent my whole life. Like I don't think most influencers talk about this stuff accurately. That's just my opinion. Taylor Swift doesn't own her music. Well, she sold it. She's a victim. She sold her music for hundreds of millions of dollars. She took the deal to get famous. Now she's rich and famous, and now she wants more money. She's not a victim. That's why you got famous. If you didn't sign the deal, you wouldn't have been famous. You wouldn't have been rich. Now you're rich. Now you're famous. You signed it. They didn't force your hand to the paper. You signed it. If you signed a Daily Wire, you get money, you get resources, you get cameras, you get documentaries. They do a bunch for you, and then you give them some stuff. That's the trade-off. If you don't want to do it, you want to cry about it, then go do your own thing. Go buy your own cameras. Spend $100,000 on cameras. Spend hundreds of thousands of dollars on marketing like they do. Spend money on a studio. You don't want to do it? then don't do it. What they're doing doesn't affect me, and it doesn't make me a sellout. I don't need what they have, but if I were to ever work with them, which they don't want me to, but if I were, how am I a victim? I signed any deal that I'm in on. No one made me sign anything. It's all a negotiation. And I think being a sellout would be signing something you don't believe in to silence yourself. And a lot of people do that in some ways. I don't know. Someone said, do I like Mark Dice? I don't watch him that much, but I think Mark Dice was on the same page as me. And that's another thing. Mark Dice is independent. He's on the same page as me with this stuff. It's like he gets it because he's an actual independent creator who funds all his own stuff, makes all his own stuff, and, can call it like he sees it. But the thing I'm trying to say, I don't want to stay past an hour, is in a business negotiation, it's a push and a pull. If you don't want to work with somebody, then rip the contract up and walk away, and you don't ever even have to talk to them. But if you do want to do business with a bigger business, whether it's Fox and what, I don't know what type of contract they had Tucker under. I have no idea, but it is what it is. But in general, it's like you signed that. So what, do you not want the millions of dollars? That's fine. Then go do it on your own. But the thing is that I see is that people want the money. They want the fame. They want the clout. They want the production. They want the dozens of employees that someone else is paying for. They want all the benefits of these corporations. They work for them. They make millions of dollars. And then they cry victim afterwards. Like, oh, I want to do it on my own. No, you only want to do it on your own now because you already like raped that company of their money, business, and resources. If you really want to do it on your own, you would have done it before, but you didn't want to. You just wanted to get everything you could out of that company and then say that you wanted to do it on your own. And that's where it's like the company, what they exist just to let you use all their stuff and not capitalize off you. Like that doesn't make any sense. So, if people are truly 100% independent from the start and they never used a mega corporation to get famous and rich and successful, then yeah, they're awesome. But if they did that, like the Crowders of the world, the Tuckers of the world, doesn't mean they're bad people necessarily. It's just like now all of a sudden they want to act like Rosa Parks when, and I'm not saying Tucker, he's done nothing to me. Like he's fine. He'll figure out a new deal. But that's just the people that are like, oh, they're giving out crazy contracts, then don't sign it. But like, why would a company that's worth tens or hundreds of millions of dollars want to just give someone something with nothing in return? Like, here's $60 million. You get to keep everything and we're just going to lose money. You just rape us of our resources and we get nothing out of it. It's like, why? What company would want to do that? It doesn't actually make sense. Someone said Tucker's worth far more now. Are you talking about Tucker or Crowder? Is Mark Dice another Trump cuck? I don't watch Mark Dice enough to really know. I don't think so, but I have no idea. Someone said it makes sense if you're a commie. I don't know what you're talking about, but communism is when the government just doesn't allow you to do anything. A media company is when you create your own business and then you're allowed to hire people if you want. I don't know. Let me know what you guys think. I'm going to read a few more comments. You can't ever allege the bang-a-bang on the news aren't real. I don't even know what that is. What's a bang-bang? Sounds like fang-fang. What was that, like a Chinese spy? Let's see. Oh, you said RFK is a climate commie? He's talked about what he said about climate, and he's acknowledged that there is a global thing going on that's not real environmentalism. So I think he's kind of honest about that, but I'm not challenging him. Please do. I'm not saying to give him a softball, but I have heard that he's commented on that recently. Someone said, gonna wear my Big Farmer shirt to church. It's really nice, soft and comfy too. Thank you, Donna. Yeah, we do have Big Farmer, not Big Farmer shirts. Thanks for getting one, Donna. We appreciate you. What do I think of genetically modified cannabis? I'm not really for the genetically modified stuff. I think it's a little creepy and unnecessary. I'm going to end on this note because I could talk forever, but I want to keep this video shorter. Say God made the cannabis plant and the marijuana plant, the seed. It's a beautiful thing. It just like grows. I love seeds. It's amazing. It's like, oh my gosh, you grew a plant. Why does everybody need to genetically modify everything? There's no scarcity among seeds and stuff. They're all over the place. Like, why are people doing that? But you realize people are doing it for money. And this is when it doesn't matter if it's communist or capitalist. I mean, I believe in capitalism over communism, but if you're not moral it doesn't matter, because it's not moral to be like, well, I want to make more money in a capitalist society, so I'm going to GMO a cannabis plant so I can own that plant, because if I don't GMO it, I can't own it. A lot of the GMO stuff, that you can't own natural things. So if you can GMO something, now you can own the GMO version. It's not even just like we can bake them out and make more money. It's just like, oh, I can own the new strand that I create through genetic modification. Same with viruses. You can apparently genetically modify one and then have ownership over it. You could Google articles about that. They said it was a conspiracy theory during COVID because people were accusing that of it, but there were other ones in the past that people have had patents on. So there's something. Thank you for the $10 super chat, Corey. Appreciate it. He said, I appreciate your level-headedness. I appreciate you. But yeah, I don't like the GMO stuff. I think it's unnecessary, especially with seeds and things that are abundant. You know what I'm saying? It's abundance. We don't need to genetically modify. It's kind of creepy. Let me know what you guys think. Appreciate you guys. Dream Rare Podcast. Thanks for listening to the 3 shows. If you just joined, RFK Jr. says he's going to pardon Julian Assange. Tucker Carlson appears to be a deep fake, maybe real, funny either way, but I don't know what's going on there. And then the Writers Guild of America striking for humanity, shutting down all the shows that should never even be on air in the first place. Appreciate you guys. Have a good one. I'll be back soon. Hey, what's going on, my friends? Just a few ways to stay in touch and support if you'd like to. The first way is dreamrare.com. We have blue beanies, black beanies, pink hats, other colored hats, freedom versus tyranny shirts, stay blessed long sleeve, God is great long sleeve, and lots of more cool items coming soon. Dreamrare.com. Check out the shop to support. Everything's made in the United States. Handpicked by me. Patreon.com/raretalk. For $5 a month, you can help support me, support the show. If you haven't noticed, unlike other channels, I don't work with very many sponsors, sometimes none at all. And part of the way I'm able to do that is with the dreamrare.com shop and patreon.com/raretalk. So thank you guys for keeping the show free, unimpeded, uninterrupted. I'm forever grateful. My free email list is stayintouchwithme.com. So check the links below in the description, or just type in on any browser, stayintouchwithme.com, all one word. You'll find my email list, put it in there, and it's the least annoying email list you'll ever be on. I barely use it because I don't like getting emailed every day or every week. It's annoying. So I don't do it. Stayintouchwithme.com. It helps me take back some power away from big tech. Telegram, t.me/dreamrarechat or @dreamrarechat. Due to censorship, I post all my live stream and videos there. Sometimes I have some bonus content, and I try to give people a heads up when Facebook or YouTube won't. DreamRareChat at Telegram. My Instagram is @DreamRare. Thanks for everybody following there for shorter content. And DreamRareLinks.com. That's DreamRareLinks.com. Has all my stuff. My podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, my music on Spotify and Apple, my Rumble page, my BitChute and Gab page. All my links are found at DreamRareLinks.com. Thanks for watching, folks. God bless you. You already know I'll be back with more content soon.